when this happened. You were in the shower. And
I seem to always be in the shower when things happen.
You really are. Can you not do that? Just kidding.
We laugh, we talk, real life, from late night chats to husband and wife. Drama, joy, and a couple glow. It's my favorite couple. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to my favorite couple podcast.
I'm Crystal.
And I'm John. I almost
We're
said
figuring it
the
out. I know.
other podcast name.
Right?
So, yeah, exactly. So,
my favorite couple.
That's
yes.
right. Podcast.
Yeah. So it's episode 2.
Yes.
Episode 1 was how we met.
Yeah.
And episode 2
is where I get super uncomfortable because this is the we don't talk about it much.
We don't.
And there's a reason behind it. And
Right.
I feel very, very uncomfortable talking about it because I just want to we have moved past it.
We have.
But I don't want to talk about it.
Right. And I mean,
Which I wonder how like the relationship reality shows where
Yeah.
they do the filming, that fight has happened, and then they do the testimonials afterwards, so they have to relive the fight.
oh, well, and then when it airs,
fresh, and it's
it's
too
like
fresh.
you
they've
open
moved
it
past it, but it's only been a couple of months,
Right.
So you're reopening that wound, and then like you said, then it airs,
Yeah.
or they do the tell-all, and all
Yeah.
that comes back, and then you see the stuff that you didn't know before.
right.
I don't know how
Yeah,
they do
the
that.
things that were said. So
Exactly.
we watch a little bit too much of 90 Day Fiance, all the spinoffs.
I didn't want to give them the clout. That's why I said reality.
I mean, listen,
shows.
they hooked us, so But yeah, so how we met, and then now how we almost got divorced before our 1 year anniversary.
Yep.
And yeah, I guess I'll just preface it with saying, our wedding, people told us a million times that it was their favorite wedding they've been to. It was the most fun, that we were their favorite couple, which is where the name of the podcast came from. And not that was untrue, but so going into it, my relationships before you were my
You
voice
need water.
right.
It's only a podcast.
My relationships before you were just a train wreck. Even the ones that were good, there was just a lot of red flags and things that I didn't listen to. And then when I met you, and we broke up, and I had before we got married. And I tried dating again, and everyone I would try to date, I was comparing to you, and these people that were local were doing nothing, 20% of what you were doing 2,000 miles away. And so in a way, because it was going so good, I kind of put you and our relationship on this perfect pedestal because it was going so well compared to before, and I didn't really necessarily have those red flags, or they were really minor. They were things like, oh, okay, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal.
Right.
Whatever. And so I think that made it even harder because that pedestal that we were on, we got knocked right the fuck off.
Well, the higher you climb, the further the drop.
Further you fall.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was January. This is also when I realized that Mercury retrograde was a thing, because people kept telling me, oh, it's Mercury retrograde. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, people keep telling me this.
I had never heard of it.
And when that happened, and there was something that happened last year around the same time that people had said the same thing. And I'm like, well, okay, Januaries have been statistically rough. So this January was no different. Again, the first year of our marriage. So I guess backstory into how it went down. So we were buying a house, in the process of buying a house. That house actually, I believe that's the one that didn't end up working
I think
out,
so.
right?
I think so.
No, this was, This might have actually been. I don't
we
remember.
were definitely shopping. Yeah,
we were
definitely
house hunting.
shopping,
I'll
yeah.
just say that. So anyway, and you at the time, I think you were working. Yeah, you were working.
Yeah.
But you were still using my laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was I?
Yeah.
Or I had
'Cause
my
that's
big
how-
computer. I had my big computer.
Yeah, but I think you were still using my laptop for
For
certain
certain
things.
things.
And so I went to my email. See, now I'm getting all nervous. I went to my email and I was looking for an email from our realtor that I had
Okay.
sent. And so I went to my sent folder and I started to go through and I was getting confused because they didn't look familiar.
Right.
They looked new.
Right.
And now, mind you, at the time, I was literally mid conversation with
What are you,
with
a
my
7-year-old?
with my best friend Penny. She and her boyfriend were living with us also at the time, and she was talking to me, and then all of a sudden, I saw something in the emails, and I went silent, and I didn't even realize that I had gone silent.
Right, because you're processing.
Yeah. And she was like, are we done talking? And I was like, sorry. And she was like, are you okay? And I was like, I don't think so. So they were inappropriate emails, basically. And I don't know if I had noticed at the time, I think I did, that they were older. They weren't like, it wasn't yesterday, it wasn't the day before,
Right.
that they were from several months ago, but they were, I believe they were like 6 months old. And so about the time we had gotten married.
Right.
And so I was devastated because I didn't think that was a thing. I didn't know how far they went.
Right.
Did something happen? Because it was basically like they were emails basically like looking for hookups.
One side, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
One-sided. There was some conversation, but like it wasn't like a full-on like months and months of conversation. It was
Right.
like a lot of one-sided. But then, and you were home when this happened. You were in the shower. And
I seem to always be in the shower when things happen.
you really are. Can you not do that? Just kidding. And so, yeah, I waited for you to, I told Penny what I found, and she was like, oh, fuck. And so she went to go hide in her room. And I went in our room and waited for you to get out of the shower. And I said, and you came out and you were like, hey, because I'm
Right,
sure my
'cause-
face.
Well, that and you were like there was no. It wasn't like I was showering before, but like there was no
Right.
reason for you to be in the bedroom.
Yeah, standing there waiting
just
for
stand.
you.
Yeah, wait. Yeah, exactly, waiting for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then I asked you, I said, did you cheat on me? And you were like, what? And I was like, did you cheat on me? And you were like, what are you talking about? And
Right.
I said something like, I'm not asking you because I don't know. Like, I found stuff. Did you cheat on me? And then it's blur from there.
Right. Right. I also don't remember like exactly
What the actual conversation was.
What
Yeah.
it went. I know you ended like I remember the crying on the bed.
Yeah.
And the like apologizing and whatever, and then
Yeah.
I remember you like leaving the ring and going out.
Well, so I left the ring, but you asked me, I don't remember,
To
because
just
I remember,
take it.
well, yes, you told me to just take
Like
it.
don't
You
wear it
don't
if you
wear
don't
it.
feel like wearing it, but just
Right,
take
but
it.
take it with you. Because, yeah, I took my ring off and went to the bar with
Yeah.
Penny
Yeah.
and drank a lot.
So I will preface that
Yeah.
with I don't mean to make excuses.
Right.
Like every time, like the few times that we've talked about it, and
Yeah.
I try to like explain like my side and where I was at.
Right.
To me, it's like I hope they don't think I'm trying to make excuses for what
Yeah.
happened, because I've taken full ownership of what
Yes,
happened and
you did.
everything. I just
Yeah.
it's sometimes it's when I'm trying to like
Explain it. Yeah.
explain like my side and where I was at,
Where your headspace, yeah.
where my headspace is like, it feels like excuses. But anyway, so I say that I 100% take responsibility
Right,
for my
preface it,
action.
yeah.
I didn't exactly like see it from your side until we got into therapy and what it meant,
Right.
because nothing happened.
Right.
Like there was no, it was all like one-sided. It was very in my head,
Right.
not physical. Like there wasn't
Yeah.
anything. But with that said,
Right.
I did I did send some emails from back when Craigslist was like had that like section or whatever,
Yeah.
the personal ad type
Right, right.
sections. And sent some inappropriate emails.
Yeah.
I was in a headspace of I had nothing but time
Yeah.
on my hands.
Right.
Because when they were like happening, it was like, you know, I wasn't working yet,
Yep.
or if I was working, it was like very part-time still.
Well, so then a little backstory that we kind of covered in the first one about like how we met. We were long distance for 2 years, which long distance and being faithful is extremely difficult. I mean, we both had our moments. I don't
Right.
think either of us actually like cheated.
Acted on them, right.
But we got close. We
Right.
went further than we should have. For me, it was just once, and I was like, "Holy fuck, what the fuck am I doing?"
Right.
Like, you know.
Right.
But it's hard because again, you don't have that physical, you know, connection. You don't have the the physical touch,
Right.
like all of that. And for 2 years, yes, we were visiting each other, but it was like 3 to 6 months apart each time.
And it's very much, you got to hold yourself accountable.
Yes.
Because that other person isn't necessarily like,
There
they're
to
not there
do it.
physically, but it's
Right.
like they're not necessarily there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you have to hold yourself
Well,
accountable.
and like for me, like you second guess, is this going to turn into something?
Right.
Are you
Yeah.
going to follow through with these
Right.
intentions to move and all of that? And then when you did actually move, you tried to get a job before you moved. You
Right,
tried
but
for
that-
like 8 months
Yeah.
and then eventually was like, okay, I'm just going to have to move and find a job when I
Right.
get there.
Yeah.
And so when you moved,
because
you
nobody
didn't-
wanted to pay relocating.
Right.
fees.
And you didn't even want them to pay that, but they
Right.
they
But
didn't
it-
have the
it
patience
comes
for
with-
you to relocate.
Right.
On your own or paid or not.
Right.
And so then, you know, once you moved, then I think it was about 3 months that
What was that? Some noise outside. Anyway.
sorry, it was distracting. And then I think it was about 3 months that you didn't have a job.
Right.
I don't remember the exact
Right. Yeah. Time.
timing.
Yeah.
But that kind of led up to it as well. And so, you know, with the long distance, at least, you know, if correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a lot more, especially because you were like, you lived as a bachelor before.
Right.
Before we even got
Right,
together.
yeah, yeah.
And then you kind of still did to a certain extent when we were long distance because, again, there wasn't like a local relationship.
Right. It
And-
felt the same, except for like it kind of the day to day felt the same
Right.
because it's like I wasn't coming home to you or like
Right,
to anyone
yeah.
really. It was just like you know,
Right.
there.
So there was, I believe you had said there was like a lot of porn. And
Yeah.
then you kind of had to like the same level
Right,
of
because it's
porn
almost- it's-
like wasn't enough.
It's almost worse because like you're in a relationship,
Yeah.
but you don't have that like
Physical- yeah.
physical touch, so it's
Right.
like more enticing. So yeah,
Right.
there was a lot of that, and it you know it kind of it once it's in there, it doesn't
Yeah.
like go away just because like we're like
Right.
together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like that. It becomes like a habit.
Yeah.
It's not even necessarily anymore like you don't do it for the same
Right.
thing. It's just like
Yeah.
it's just like something
This is
you
what
do.
I do.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
if you think of like someone who smokes cigarettes, like they don't smoke cigarettes because
right.
like they love
It's
the
more the
cigarette.
asphyxiation.
It's right.
Yeah.
It's more the like like I go, you know, every
The act,
I have
yeah.
to do it because it's what I do.
Right.
More than like, oh, this cigarette's amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, or at least that's how I think. I don't smoke cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
But so that was there. So then
Yeah.
when I move, when I come to Colorado and I move in and I don't have a job, and this is the first time
And
since,
now you don't have friends, family.
right. I don't have, it's just me, and
Yeah.
it's the first time from the age of 15 that I'm not working.
Right.
Because I've always had a job. So now here it's literally 15 years later because I was like 30,
Yeah.
31. So I find myself without a job, looking. Looking, it was all online. So I'm on the computer all day anyway,
day,
looking for jobs, filling out these long, and it's so crazy how like the applications, you have to
Yeah.
fill out all this stuff
Right.
before you even like get we're considering you. It's just like
Right.
in order to be considered, you got to fill out everything. Are you a
Right.
veteran?
Pages and
Hispanic?
pages,
Like all this stuff just to apply. So I was on the computer all day, like looking for jobs and not knowing what I wanted to do because I was
Right.
like, well, I'm gonna take this time
In a
to
weird
leave
space.
news,
Yeah.
to see what else is out there because all I knew was news and I was burnt out.
Right.
So I'm basically like lost, right?
Yeah.
And then the only like, I guess, crutch was that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then it got, progressively like worse, obviously,
Right.
but like nothing like physical.
Yeah.
So then I think I was looking for gigs on Craigslist, which is why like that
It
was like the
escalated,
outlet.
yeah.
Because I was looking for, I think someone was like, oh, there are postings there. So I
Mm-hmm.
was looking there, and then right under there it was like a personal ads or whatever. And then just looking through there, and then there are pictures.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the same fix within the
Right.
same thing. And then that led to messaging
Mm-hmm.
on there and like, like looking for it. And
Yeah.
it was for me, like I had explained in like, cause we did go to therapy and
Right.
everything. It was still within that same realm.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was like looking for someone.
It's
the
kind of like
same-
a chat line.
exactly like a chat line or
Yeah.
like think of it like a Sims. Like I
Right.
didn't think it would like in my mind it wasn't
didn't feel
real.
like real
Like I
life.
wasn't
Yeah.
going to go meet with someone.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even
Yeah.
though that's exactly what that's for.
Right.
What I was like in my mind when I was doing it, it wasn't to like, oh, I'm gonna go meet someone on Saturday or I'm gonna
Yeah.
go meet. I hope I can like, I have like an hour. I hope we can meet up or something.
Right.
Like, it was just like I'm chatting with a bot,
Right.
almost like a chat GPT nowadays.
Right. Yeah.
Chat GPT would have saved our relationship. We would have had to like pay for therapy.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that was my headspace, and
Mm-hmm.
and then it was around the time where we were like getting married, and I
Right.
knew like the whole time I knew it was wrong.
Right.
Like a little kid when you're doing something you're not supposed to,
Right.
you're gonna get in trouble if mom or dad find out.
Right.
So I had like, okay, I need to like stop.
Yeah.
Like myself. I
Right.
didn't need any outside. I'm like, I need to
Right.
like stop and wind this back. So I did.
Yeah.
I did the posting,
Yeah.
not necessarily the watching the porn.
Right.
That took a lot longer because I mean that had been going on for a
Right.
lot longer. I mean
Yeah.
since watching scrambled porn as a kid, like
Right.
because we didn't have the access like kids do now.
Yeah.
And I would say lucky, but they're not lucky.
Right.
So that part I cut out, and for whatever reason, I guess again because I didn't think it was that bad because
Right.
I wasn't going to do anything.
Right.
I didn't think about like, oh, I should delete these emails.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
again, it was one of those things. Like I was
I
like,
had
well,
stopped.
I stopped, and then it was like out of like if I would have, I didn't want to think about it
Right.
because I'm like, okay, I'm stopping. I'm gonna stop. Let's not think about it.
Yeah.
So I didn't think about deleting the emails because I didn't think I didn't think I did anything like as wrong as like I did.
Right.
Because I didn't understand it from your side.
Right.
And then coming out the shower,
Yeah.
seeing your reaction to it.
Yeah.
And then, when you said like, are you cheating on me? I'm like, of course not. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, where the whole thing is like, where is this coming from? It's like, what are you
Right.
talking about?
Yeah.
Like almost like what time? Because I never like really left the house. Like I didn't know anyone there
Yeah.
to cheat with. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was like, where is this coming from? And again, not thinking
Yeah.
of the emails because
You had
one,
stopped.
they weren't like real to me.
Right.
And two, I had stopped.
Right.
So I was like, no. And then you're like that. And I'm like, and then I think you mentioned emails.
Probably.
And then
yeah.
that's when it all like clicked. I'm like, oh, damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Well, and again, when I found them, I wasn't looking.
right.
Well,
you were looking for emails.
Yeah, but I wasn't looking like I wasn't like
Yeah,
going
yeah,
through
yeah,
your
yeah,
emails. I wasn't
yeah.
going through your phone.
Right,
I
right.
wasn't doing any of that. And the universe was like, I'm just gonna put this
Yeah.
right here. And I'm like,
And
what the fuck?
and also there was like there are certain things in our conversation with the long distance.
yeah.
That was like your one
Cheating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is your one what do they call it?
Deal breaker.
Deal breakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like, and it was like really your only one for
Yeah,
the most part. Was
for the
like
most part.
the only one was that.
Yeah.
So, that was like even more like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. When it happened, it was
Right.
like, no.
Right.
Because like I had seen so many of my friends and stuff go through it, and every single time the man cheated again, and or they would gaslight them, or they would blame them because I just saw what my friends went through, and I was like, absolutely not. I will never put myself through that. And then I was in this situation, and I was like, what the I was like, no, because in my mind,
right.
you had cheated. It was like, whether it was emotional or physical or playtime, you know what I mean? In
Right.
my mind,
Yeah.
you had, and I was like, I didn't know how the heck we would get
Right.
past that.
Right.
And again, so we back to the actual day it happened. I left. I'm pretty sure I like put the ring in my pocket or something like that, but it wasn't on my hand. And we were going out so much then that like our waitress was basically our friend.
Right.
And, she was like, Penny was shocked when she found out, our waitress, Jamie, she was, shocked when she found out. And I was surprised in the moment that neither of my friends were like, fuck him, leave him.
Right.
And it probably helped because that's where I was at.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And they were like, yes, be upset, take your moment, fuck him, but like also like work on it. Like
Right.
see if you can work on it. And I
Right.
was like, oh, I don't know. And then while so in the moment too, before we even left for the bar, one thing that did help me, which I didn't know at the time maybe necessarily that it helped me, but like I gave you every opportunity to blame me because that's what females, when that kind of stuff happens, we immediately go to what did we do, or was it something
Yeah.
I did, or what did I not give you enough of, or whatever.
Right.
And you didn't you didn't do that.
Right.
You didn't
And
blame me.
I don't
you
think
took
it's
full accountability in that moment.
Right. I don't think it's fair to say females, because I feel like the
True.
cheated on party.
That's true.
Or the
Yeah.
party that feels like they're like the victim of it.
Yeah.
Feels that way.
Yeah.
As
I
far
just
as,
think
like,
especially
what-
females, we blame ourselves.
because usually it's the dudes that cheat.
Right. True. But it was huge that you didn't do that, because I could see how it would be easy to, because you'd want to like deflect from all the responsibility being on you. And then also while we were at the bar, you were sending me like marriage counselor information. Like you immediately
Right.
went into
Well, because
like,
I was like
fix-it
like,
mode.
how can we fix it? And you're like, well, we're gonna probably have to, we're gonna have to find a therapist or something
Yeah.
like that. And prior to that, I was like I wasn't open to therapy. So if it
Yeah.
wasn't for something that like devastating, because I
Right.
totally thought everything was over and we hadn't even built all of this. Like, you
Right.
know what I mean? Just,
Yeah.
I thought like everything was over. Like
Yeah.
I had moved
Right.
for the relationship.
Yeah.
We were getting married,
Right.
which like I wasn't planning to like get
Yeah.
married multiple times in my
Yeah.
life. So I saw everything coming to an end.
Yeah.
And you saying like, well, we're gonna have to, go to therapy
Yeah.
and find a therapist. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, if this is what it's gonna take,
Yeah.
to,
It was a
like,
non-negotiable
even-
for me.
If
Yeah.
this is what it was gonna take to like fix it,
Yeah.
then in that case, I'm
Right.
open to it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it was almost like hitting rock bottom.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, okay, if that's what's gonna, if that's what's gonna fix it, then that's what has to be done.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, let me like look for it and
Yeah.
stuff. And like that's why I was like set to like show you like, listen, I'm not only
Right.
willing to work on it,
Yeah.
but like I'm gonna actively
Right.
like
Yeah.
look for the solution.
And that did help a lot. And then it was hard because then, the next day, I mean, there was like almost no speaking. It was literally
Right.
just crying on and
Yeah.
off from both of us. And then what the fuck?
What is going on? Are those like fireworks?
Okay. So hopefully there's not like a war or something going on outside or transformers blowing or.
Well, we still got power.
Okay.
So
All right. Well, we'll hurry up just in case. That threw me off. Anyway, so the worst part was after all of this happened, now it's like fresh and raw. And I wanted to see somebody like the next day.
Right.
Because I didn't know how to speak to you. I
Right.
couldn't speak to you. It was
Yeah.
very like, hey, I'm leaving. Okay,
Right.
bye. And then
Yeah.
love you. And I'd be like,
It's
I don't even think
very-
I could
yeah,
say love you
yeah,
back for a while.
Yeah, the tension was
Like,
so
oh
like,
my God.
and it was like I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
like I don't want to make this worse.
Right. Well, and then you'd have to like, it was bad. Like you'd have to ask for permission to like give me a hug because I didn't want you to touch me.
Right.
I didn't want you to look at me. I didn't.
And that's with the beard.
Oh, right. And so the soonest I could get an appointment
Right.
was 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, I don't know how I'm going to make it 2 weeks because like, and like, I think, did you say it or did my mom offered for
Oh, to bring
you
me in.
to
Yeah,
stay
yeah. No, your mom
at
did.
her house.
Yeah. Yeah. Your
Yeah.
mom did.
And I didn't want to do that either because one, I thought it was a little bit weird for,
Yeah. I didn't,
basically
'cause-
her to be involved and
Right.
like, if we were going to work on anything, we probably, even if we didn't really
That
talk,
would have
but
been
we
even.
needed to be.
Listen, it was
like,
weird. It was weird at the house with you, but like
Right.
if I had to stay with your like mom,
Oof, yeah.
and that would have been even weirder because it's like, well, like I know what you think of me now.
Right.
But like it's like, ooh, for like the in-law, like what is she?
Yeah,
Because
right.
she's gonna 100% have your back because
Right.
she's your mom.
But it does go to show that like, I think deep down she still knew your heart because I don't think she would have offered for you to stay there if you were a complete piece of shit.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fair
Because I wouldn't for
Right, yeah.
my
Right.
kid's
Right.
girlfriend or
Right. She'd
whatever.
probably tell you to just kick him out.
Right,
Like, just kick me out.
Kick 'em- yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
where you're gonna go, but
Who
get the fuck
cares?
out.
But-
Yeah.
right, yeah.
And so yeah, that 2 weeks was really awkward,
Mm-hmm.
really awkward, and very tough. It was just on and off crying and being kind of like just going through the motions, but being like a shell
Mm-hmm.
of a person. And then we finally went to our appointment,
Mm-hmm.
and the therapist tried to be as kind as possible. Just had a very interesting look.
Right. Right. And approach.
Yeah, and her office was so
cluttered.
distracting.
Yeah.
It was.
It's like
Listen,
a
I live in
giant
clutter,
Bookshelf.
but I'm ADHD, and so if especially if I'm going to like a therapist's office where I have to focus or do something that I have to focus, if you have a bunch of clutter, I'm focusing on all of your things and I'm looking
Right.
to see what things I can find. And so I was really struggling to focus. And then one eye went one direction and one eye went the other, and I didn't know if she was talking to me sometimes or you. She had crazy hair. Like, I'm just trying to paint a picture of
Yeah.
what our first.
It was like we were like in a troll's like house.
Yes, it did not feel real.
Because she was small, and then like
She
her
was.
where she was sitting, her seat was like old. It was like an old like chair,
Yes.
and then behind her, all I remember was like this like bookshelf. Like if
It
you
was
think of a
floor to ceiling.
Harry Potter style bookshelf. It's dark brown.
My brain tells me it's
all
like
the
12
books.
feet
yes,
high.
Exactly. Well, because we were also sitting, I think, low.
Really
so
low.
we're kind of like, so it was just like
It was like Disney movie-ish.
was
It just didn't
totally-
feel real. And it's already out of body enough that like we're at marriage counseling before
Right.
we even hit our 1 year anniversary. But it did help though because she laid into you and I felt that helped me because I needed that validation because like I was just so exhausted and so hurt that I couldn't even lay into you. I couldn't say anything different than what I had already said. You know,
Right.
there wasn't like I needed someone else to portray to you like how it really felt. And that is one thing that we didn't go back to her, but
No.
that is one thing that it did help in that it helped because you had described how you didn't think it was as big of a deal in your mind
Right.
at the
Yes.
time.
Right.
You see the hurt that it caused,
Right.
but you didn't realize it because, to you, it was fake, not real,
Right. Yeah.
kind of playtime. And she, put in therapist terms, basically like what that does and what it did to
Right.
the relationship. And then it was kind of funny because we both got in the car and now, mind you, obviously the last 2 weeks there's probably zero laughing, at least not together.
No.
And then we got in the car and I go, what the fuck was that?
Listen, if I did laugh, it was out of relief. Because I was like, this is gonna be. I don't know how we're gonna I don't know how I'm gonna get through it because honestly, she did say those things, but it's still like for me, it wasn't clicking because maybe it was like the like the distractions of the room or whatever, and her coming for me, and not really like. Not that she wasn't like, it almost felt like she wasn't really listening to like how I was feeling.
Right.
Maybe I wasn't saying it correctly because
Right.
I didn't like know. So
Right.
it might have been a combination of both, but it just, I felt like
It wasn't effective.
this is going to be hard.
Yeah.
Like I was like, this is going to be a lot harder than just like us
Right.
talking it out.
Yeah.
Because like if she, like you said, she was playing like she was telling me things that you wanted to but couldn't,
Right?
Because you were in the state
Right.
you were. So when you got in the car,
Yeah.
and you were like, "What was that?" I'm like, "Oh, thank God you didn't like her either," because I for sure didn't like her.
Yeah.
And not even just because she was like
Right.
laying into me. Like,
Yeah.
As soon as we walked in, I was like, I just had like this unsettling feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when we found somebody else,
We did. Yeah.
and we went into his office.
Yeah.
His office was a lot like it wasn't cluttered. It was
No.
it was lots more spacious.
Yeah.
It was brighter.
Yeah.
And he actually let us like talk through it.
Right.
And actually like I get like empathize or like
Right.
really like dove into like what that was and made sure that the other one knew
Right.
that how like especially for me, I don't know about
Yeah.
for you, but for me, he was like he made sure to let me know how, and maybe it was because he was a guy,
Right.
but he made sure to like let me know like that those actions, how it made you feel,
Right.
and that's why you felt the same way,
Right.
And even though yes, like you didn't do anything
Right.
like physically or anything,
Right.
it doesn't take away
Right.
that it still happened and it
Right.
still felt real,
Right.
to you. So
Yeah.
the same way it didn't feel real to me, it felt real to you.
Yeah.
And that was like the turning point in that, like to think about it from your side.
Right.
And that I think after that like breakthrough happened, then it was like better.
Yeah. Yeah. We went for about 6 months. Cause then the hard part for me was after, we had kind of worked on it and we were getting better and we were going to regular therapy. I don't know how often.
I think it was like once a week.
Once a week or it at the least it was every other week.
Yeah.
But I do think it was weekly, at least in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then was the hard part of the physical, having sex
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Because I had kind of gotten past it like emotionally to a certain extent and was working on, getting through it and knew that it would just take time. But then I was like, I have zero desire
Right.
to do anything physical because in that moment, that's all I could think about.
Yeah.
And then even when we would, it wasn't like enjoyable for me
Right.
because all I'm thinking about is the emails. And I'll never forget when he was like, and it's so true when I think about like our businesses and stuff. And he was like, I was surprised by his answer. And I was like, how the heck do I get over it? How do I like get past that?
Right.
And he was like, you have to do it more often.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I'm like, I don't want to do it at all.
Right.
What do you mean
More often.
more often?
Right.
Like to compare it to something, business wise, like if you hate making and doing content, you need to do more of it.
Right.
And the more you do of it, the more like you get comfortable.
Right.
And the more
You get better at it.
You get better at it. And I was like, God, it was not the answer I wanted
Right.
at all. I don't know what answer I wanted, but it was not
But it wasn't
do
more.
more of it. And I'm like, I don't want to do any of it. What do you mean? And I know that like I don't know if I want to call it revenge, but like what made me feel better in those like 6 months afterwards was like, I had you do so many things like just to, not that I put you through the ringer, but like it was mostly like sending you to do stuff that I didn't want to do. Like, one of them I can remember was, going to get like Taco Bell or food or something late at night that I didn't want to go do,
Right.
which you would still do even now.
And it was before
but
DoorDash or anything like
it
that.
was way before DoorDash. So like if
There
you
was no
didn't
service that I can call
No.
to have it come over.
right, he was the service. So there's a lot of little things like that. Like, I'd say I made you go get a pedicure, but you didn't mind going to get a
No.
pedicure.
No, not
but
at
it was just things like that where it was kind of like I almost felt like you had to do those things to like get back in my good graces, because that's what, like, to me, that's what, maybe in a somewhat toxic way, but like to me it was like you proving that you are trying to make up for it,
Right.
that you're trying to fix it, and that and surprisingly, not that I would ever wish to go through that again, like willingly, the things that we learned from it were huge and invaluable in how to communicate and not hiding things from each other. And, because we were long distance, and what kept us long distance for so long was the fact that we were really good at communication, but oddly enough, when you moved here, we struggled with in-person communication, because we went from talking on the phone for like an hour every day when you were on your way home to when you moved here, especially when you weren't working, you didn't have much to share about your day.
Right, exactly.
And so then we went
I applied 3 different places.
Right. And I, at the time too, I had started to become a little resentful after a while, because I knew that you were trying to find a job.
Right.
But
you
I was working full time and going to school
so
part
you would come
time.
home like really late.
So I'd come home, I'd leave at like 6:30 in the morning, and I'd come home at like 9:00 at night sometimes. Or I'd come home at like 5 or 6, and you'd be asleep on the couch.
Right.
And I wanted to smother you. Because I was like, this mother, and like I get
It's
it.
tiring not doing it.
No, but it really is, because I mean, it's happened to me before. Like when if you sit on the couch all day, whether you're on and off your computer or not, we've all fallen asleep on there, and you're like, why am I tired? And it's like, well, because you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like it gets to you once you're just sitting there. So I do understand that, because I've experienced it myself. But that feeling when you walk through the door and you're exhausted from work, school, whatever, and you're just chilling, you're in your pajamas already, or still, I should say. And I'm like, this motherfucker.
And it was like I didn't want to go anywhere.
Right.
Because I drove
because you didn't want to spend any money.
And I drove a Mustang, so it was like a lot of gas.
Right.
And then
because that's the exact opposite of what you want to be doing when you don't have a job.
Right,
is to be
go
spending
out
money.
Spending money. Yeah, and it's
Right.
it's bad enough that I'm like man, like my savings is drying out. It's gonna be
Right.
a matter of time before I can't even afford that car
Yeah.
anymore.
But and that was even before all of this happened. You had a job at this point, but we had just struggled with communicating and all of that, being in person. And it showed us, a lot of how to like problem solve. And I would say that we haven't had a lot of issues in our relationship, which we've joked about and even said with the kids, there's not we don't have a ton of conflict resolution skills because we don't have a lot of conflict.
Right.
And so we had to learn how to work through conflict because we hadn't really had the practice of, we had both come from relationships where there was lots of fighting. There was just arguing, not really lots of fighting. Cause I think you had said from your previous relationship, it was mostly like one-sided because you didn't really engage with it, but there was still like drama.
Yeah,
I guess I would say there was issues.
Right. I was like the next relationship. I'm just gonna like start fighting too, because like that must be
what you do.
Well, like I really thought like maybe the problem is that I don't
fight back. Yeah.
That I don't like argue with them, and there is no screaming and yelling. Like I genuinely thought like maybe that's
what you needed to do.
Because you know how after a relationship you reflect on like what's
went
wrong, what's this, and then you start like, well, what have I been doing consistently throughout all of them?
Right.
Well, one thing is like whenever there's fighting, like I just like I walk, not necessarily walk away, but I definitely separate myself, and I'm like, I'm not gonna engage in like when once you calm down, we'll talk about it. And I was like, maybe that's the issue. Maybe I need to like engage in the moment, and that's what's missing. So I was like, the next relationship, I'm gonna fight. And that didn't happen because there was nothing to fight about.
Yeah. And again, that was a positive turned into a negative in a sense because we didn't ever really fight. Like, don't get me wrong. We had like bickering. I joke all the time that like the few days before my period, I know when my period's coming because like he's just reels. Breathing. And I'm like, why is his breathing annoying me? And then I'll literally go look at my app on my phone. I'm like, oh, that's why. Because my hormones are annoyed by breath. So like just again, like little bickering. There's obviously, we have like disagreements of like, I thought you meant this. I thought you meant that. There's always
gonna be like the eye roll moment.
Right, exactly. But then for the most part, they're all like trivial things. Like, no, I told you. Like, no, you didn't. Like, okay. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? And that's like as far as it like there's a little pitter patter or whatever you want to tit for tat, but like it never really goes long. They never last like a full day or whatever. And then we can usually talk it out in the car and both calmly share like I know it might not be intentional, but this is how it made me feel, and then you do the same thing.
But that stems from
therapy.
What we learned in therapy.
Yes,
had it not been, it might fester, it might like whatever, and then turn into a blow up.
Right. Oh, and one thing. So all of that to say, to a certain extent, that therapy can be huge. I don't think anybody ever really wants to go to therapy.
I didn't want to go, but then it's kind of like when you get a kid to take a shower.
Yeah.
They don't want to go in the bathroom. They don't want to go in the shower, but then they don't want to come out.
Right.
So when like our sessions, because of insurance, we were only allowed a certain amount of sessions for.
Well, and we had gotten to, I think it was both, because there's ways around the insurance. I think it was that we hit the end because we had mostly gotten past it and were given the tools of what to do going forward. But there was one thing I remember both of us learning. I forget. He called me out once and I was like, how dare you? I didn't do anything wrong. But I don't remember, right? I don't remember what it was, but I do remember how we learned how like sometimes when I would like vent to you and you would give me all of these solutions that I didn't want. And he had told both of us, not like at you, but he told both of us, he's like, sometimes you just need to ask, do you want me to listen or do you want me to fix it?
Right.
And because you and I were both fixers. It's like as soon as someone says what their problem is,
Right.
I want to give you
Well, okay, let me
solutions
tell
on
you
how to fix
that.
it. Well, sometimes you just want to vent.
Yeah, I didn't
you
understand
know, you know what you can do. You know what you should do. You know what you're probably going to do.
Right.
But at the same time, I just want to get this out, and like I don't need you to tell me a bunch of scenarios that I don't necessarily want to do or that I already know I'm going to do. I just want you to listen.
Right.
And like bitch about it with me, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, that's good.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure whatever he told me was something similar. Like, does he want you to do that? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, do you? And you're like, no. And I was like, fuck. Okay, fine.
Well, it definitely made like whenever you come and say something like, okay, hey,
Yeah.
when I'm not sure, like for sure, because I mean you can tell in the tone and whatever, but
Right.
sometimes it's like, wait, I'm like, is this something I fixed or is this something you just
Right.
bitch about?
Yeah.
You're like, nah, that just okay, cool. But
Yeah.
again, because of that,
Yeah.
I know to like ask that instead
Yeah.
of just, okay, well, how am I gonna fix this? You know, this and that, or give you advice to fix
Right.
it, and then you don't do it because it wasn't something you wanted advice on.
Right.
So now you're irked because I'm giving you my 2 cents,
Right.
and I'm irked because you're not listening to what I said.
Right.
So I'm like, well, I'll just let you do whatever you want,
Right.
and then I'll
Because then
tell
it was
you,
like
I told you
dismissive,
so.
and I'm like, no, like I don't want that either. Like,
Right.
you know, just listen. But yeah, I mean, I had always heard that the first year was the hardest, and man, were they
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
correct. But it taught us a lot of things that we still, I think, use to. Hello, we're recording. She probably didn't hear me. It gave us a lot of tools, and kind of like we went through the hard stuff in the beginning. And so if we can make it through that, we can kind of make it through anything else.
Right.
For the most part.
It did lay a lot of the foundation work for everything that was to come
Right.
from there.
Yeah.
You know, like also
Oof,
with
the miscarriage.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
it
was hard
definitely-
because-
it definitely helped us communicate during that
Right.
time
Because we grieved very differently.
Yes.
We'll talk about that on another show, because if I start talking about that now, we're gonna go way over
Yeah.
on time. But yeah, I didn't understand. We both didn't understand that we grieved differently,
Yeah.
and that caused some issue because like I was still sad and I was still going through it physically, but like you didn't have the physical part. I
Right.
had like both,
Right.
but it did help us work through that difference. Because I'm like, how are you okay? Because I'm not
Right.
okay.
Right.
You know, little things like that.
Right.
But yeah, I just, in conclusion, when you hit these things, you know, our immediate gut reaction is like, I'm done, you know, whatever. And you do,
Yeah.
it does need to be important that like, that you do not follow through with your deal breakers, but like, let those things still be deal breakers,
Yeah.
but you can attempt to work on it first if at the core there's still a good
Right.
solid relationship with
right.
love.
And
Now,
if
if you were
both
stepping
parties-
out because you weren't happy for whatever reason, well, then we have other things that we
Right.
need to work on,
Right.
you know, and how do we get you to where you are satisfied and happy and whatever. But
and it also takes both sides willing to do
Oh,
it. Because
yeah.
if one person is being forced into
right.
therapy, I don't think it would be like as it
Absolutely
wouldn't
not.
really work
Yeah.
as well because
If
it's
you weren't
being
willing,
forced.
it would have been pointless.
Right. Even though again, to
And if
be
I wasn't
fair-
willing, it would have been
right.
pointless.
Again, to be fair, prior to that, I wouldn't have been for like any other
Right.
like I guess topic for
Yeah.
lack of a better term.
Well,
or
now
problem.
I'm looking for a family therapist
Right.
for our crazy kids and how to parent without causing
but
trauma.
after going through it and seeing how much it worked
Beneficial.
and beneficial it was, like now
With
it's
the
more
right
open.
therapist.
Right, that too.
That's
but
the
now
hard
it's
part.
also, more open to it. I mean, our oldest, he was asking
He
the other
asked
day
to go.
because
Yeah.
he was doing play therapy for his emotions and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, and he asked the other day, "Oh, when am I gonna go to that
Yeah.
person
And we
again
were
or
like,
whatever?"
What?
Yeah, so he wants to go. You
Yeah.
know, so yeah, definitely therapy is a big thing. I know there's there seems to be less and less nowadays with mental
the
health and
stigma.
therapy.
Yeah.
But there always was, and it still is to a certain
Right.
degree. But I mean, from experience,
Yeah.
like again with the right therapist, because that's another thing
Yeah.
too. It's
True.
not all therapists aren't the same. Just like
And
all
that-
doctors, you have to
listen,
vibe with them.
Yeah, I can relate to the struggle. This is kind of why I've put off the family therapist and another actual therapist for me as well, because it's like dating. And part of the
Yeah.
reason we're married is because dating sucks. So finding a therapist that fits sucks.
Right.
Because I just went through trying to find a psychiatrist to get on ADHD meds, and it was a terrible fit. She asked me like 2 questions and then prescribing meds. And I'm like,
Right.
this is not what I want.
Right.
And I had to wait 2 weeks for that, that appointment. Like I had to call I had to call a bunch of places and see who could get me in. And like, it's a lot of work
Yeah.
to then go
Yeah.
on your first date with your therapist. And you're like, cool, don't like you,
Right.
back to the drawing board.
Right.
So I get it. And I procrastinate for exactly that reason. But what happened?
I don't know.
Okay. But pushing through is important because on
Yeah.
the other side, it really can be,
I'm not using
Beneficial.
that computer
Oh, okay.
just for you to see it.
it can be beneficial to go through that process, because in the end, when you do find that therapist that is the right fit, it can make or break things, a lot
Yeah.
of things. Like I've gone to therapy several times throughout my life. It's never been taboo because I went as a kid with, difficulties with like divorce and that kind of stuff with my, that my parents went through. And it helped a lot. So to the point where like I could see, I want to find a therapist that like if things are bad, we meet weekly, but if things are good, we meet like monthly or quarterly. So where we keep that relationship going and it's open and they're there
Right.
if I need it, more frequent, or if not, check-ins.
Right.
Because it gives you an outlet that's not your husband every single time. That's
Right.
not your long distance friend who's all going through
Right.
their own thing and then you feel like
Right.
you're burdening them, or and especially if your problem is with one of those people, you don't want to go to
Right,
them
right.
or
also too,
know.
if it's a friend within a circle, you don't
Right.
want it to, like if you're complaining about one
Yep.
person, you're worried about that person going
Yeah.
to the other one. And then also too, depending on what you're like talking to a friend about,
Mm-hmm.
they have a vested interest one way or another, where a third party who doesn't know anything involved
Exactly.
can give you a better
Well,
insight.
And then it's like those friends and family members, if you tell your friends and family members every single bad thing that your partner does,
Right.
they now become resentful because they don't see
The good things.
good things that help balance out those bad things. And then they become resentful.
Right.
And then that's its own issue
Yep.
when family is like, why are you with them? You tell me all
Right.
these bad things. And you're like,
Right.
oh, because there's the good things I don't tell you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it gives you a safe place to like vent and brainstorm and talk about all that
Yeah.
stuff with.
So-
But
Definitely proponents of therapy.
yes. So we wanted to keep this to 30, 45 minutes, but we also didn't know how long this
Right.
conversation was going to
gonna
go. But I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Yeah.
I felt like we had to talk about that, starting a relationship podcast
Well,
and not talking about the most dramatic thing
Right.
that has happened to us in a relationship
Yeah.
felt like disingenuine
Right.
or not.
and
like,
if we're gonna talk to friends and stuff
have
and have
them-
them share like their most
Right.
vulnerable moment, it's only fair that we do it first.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. So, so we're going to try and get more consistent. We've
Yes.
been
Trying to find our groove.
opening a local podcast studio.
For
So
those who
that
don't know.
has been local to Sebastian, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So that has taken up a lot of our time.
Right.
And so it's been a struggle to find time to record this podcast on top of our other weekly laser
Mm-hmm.
business podcast. So we're going to try and get more consistent. We intend to have episodes bi-weekly. And we actually have our third episode scheduled for tonight.
Yep.
So we will have 2 more coming at you soon. And I have so many more planned. And I can't wait. I'm excited for this for this podcast because it's just there's a little bit more freedom. It's
Yeah.
a little bit more like
Yeah.
exciting and spicy.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be a lot of tea to
Yep.
sip on this one, hopefully, which the
Yeah.
Laser podcast, there's not a lot of tea to sip
Right.
necessarily. That happens when we stop recording.
Yeah. And it's not going to be a therapy session either. It's just going to
No.
be sharing stories.
Yeah.
And
Sharing the crazy relationship
Yeah.
stories, crazy, just, yeah. And I want to hear the good ones too. I want to hear
course.
where like,
Yeah.
I want it to not be like, oh, wow, the dating pool is literally,
Right.
ruined. I want it to be like, hey, you can find someone.
and
kinda
also
things.
other relationships too.
Yes.
Like relationships with siblings, relationships with parents, maybe.
With your mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of those
So
things.
so it's,
Yeah.
it's not just like spouse
Yeah.
or partner relationships. So
Yeah.
yeah. So that's been that's it. Another
Yeah.
great episode of My Favorite Couple.
Bye.
Love, we laugh, we talk.